Hey everybody, Dan here with Pain Free You. Today's topic: once you know it's a false alarm, ... And I will finish that statement in a second. Relax your body. Allow the breath to take on a natural pace. If you can, soften your shoulders, your chest, your abdomen. Picture yourself sitting on a beach watching the waves, feet in the sand. Nice and calm, right? When you're in an environment like that, we don't really have to try to relax. But sometimes when we're at home, we're stressed out, we've got symptoms that are scaring us or keeping us tense. Sometimes it's good to be aware and make a decision to relax, allow the breath. So, once you know it's a false alarm, a few statements follow that. What are you working so hard on when it's a false alarm? Once you know it's a false alarm, what are you so stressed about? And I know a couple of people just got their feathers ruffled at those statements. Like, what are you kidding me, Dan? The symptoms are horrible. I got to get rid of them. I get it. I get it. I've been there, done that. A lot of years. But as I look back at it, I look at how much time I spent struggling, suffering. And a lot of this struggle and this suffer happens in our mind, thinking-wise, and the emotions that thinking creates, right? The symptoms, yes, they're bad. They can be difficult. Absolutely. But it's our thinking and it's our predictions that this is going to be forever and my life is over and I have no quality of life. I can't do these things. Look at all the years I've lost to these symptoms, right? The suffering is in the thinking, the predictions, the negative expectations, and all of the angst, suffering, sadness, despair, depression, anger that's created by all of those thoughts. And so, but if you knew, number one, it was temporary, and number two, it's just a false alarm and that your body is actually okay, how stressed out would you be? How much would these symptoms bother you if you knew they were temporary? It was based on a false alarm. Well, I would venture to say you would be a lot less bothered than you are right now. You'd be a lot less stressed out about it than you are right now. Because what that does, once you know it's a false alarm and it's temporary, it helps to minimize the predictions of this being forever, right? Once in a while I have people say, how do I learn to deal with the pain? Can I learn to be comfortable with the pain? And it's really the wrong question, because we don't want to get comfortable with the pain. We don't want to raise our pain threshold so we can, quote unquote, deal with it. Because when you know it's a false alarm, we can, through these proven concepts, not just me, other mind-body experts, the symptoms can be turned off. Why learn to live with it? Why learn to tolerate it? Let's focus on turning the symptoms off. And so, if you knew it was a false alarm and temporary, how hard would you be working on it? Would you be spending 16 hours a day on this? You might think, well, yeah, because then I can make it less, temporary faster, right? And I can figure out faster how to turn off that false alarm. But as I've talked about, sometimes less you do is better. Because again, it's a false alarm. You don't have to rebuild the house when the fire alarm goes off because there was no fire. You didn't have the house burned down. Horrible analogy given what horrible stuff just happened out in Los Angeles. So my apologies to anybody who's dealing with the aftermath of those fires or the current progression. I don't even know what's going on out there right now. Horrible, though. My point, though, is knowing it's a false alarm and it's temporary, you probably wouldn't be spending all day in your waking hours thinking about it, body scanning, monitoring. How bad am I? What's today going to look like? How bad is today going to be? And predicting, oh no, I've got some kind of an event in 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months, and now predicting a bad outcome and worrying about something that's not even happening right now. Because if you knew it was temporary and it was a false alarm, based purely on the brain's misperception that there's something dangerous happening. So how do we get to the point where we know it's a false alarm? I'm going to say it again, the assessments. Now, if you've bought the book, one of the chapters in there is the self-assessment, which has all the questions, and you can ask yourself those questions, and if one or more of those questions is true, then it is a false alarm. Your brain is creating the symptoms based on the perception of danger, and in the case of chronic symptoms, it's a false perception of danger. A misperception, if you will. It's based on misinformation. That misinformation creates a whole heck of a lot of fear. So misinformation and fear is what turns on the false alarm. And so the good news is we don't have to fix our bodies. We're not fixing body parts. We're teaching the brain, hey, we're really okay. And there's a whole bunch of ways of conveying safety to the brain. A lot of those are in the book as well. But they're also in the videos. If you go to my Fast Start playlist, one of the videos is consistent messages of safety, 24 examples, right? And there's so many different ways that you can convey to the brain that I'm actually okay. In my opinion, the number one way you can convey that you're actually okay is how you respond to symptoms, right? Are you predicting the worst? Or are you predicting, this is temporary. I know it's a false alarm. My brain's just misperceiving danger. And I can teach, not heal, teach the brain that I'm actually okay. When I've done a successful job of that, the brain will turn off these symptoms. So it is predictable, it's reliable. And as I like to say, it's your turn. So, if you knew it was a false alarm, and thereby temporary, how stressed out would you be? How much time would you spend working on this? Right? The recent success story from yesterday, Felice, was pretty cavalier about the symptoms. Once she knew what it was, she was like, not a big deal, and then she went on with her day. And that worked very well for her. If you haven't seen that success story, look back one day, and you'll see it. Felice is her name. Lovely young lady from Austria, who's actually a singer too. So it's a false alarm, folks. No sense calling the fire department because you looked in the kitchen and there's no flames. That's what TMS means. So I'm going to wrap this up. For everybody who bought the book, do not forget there are free book bonuses. Go to painfreeyou.com, and then you can look at the menu for book, and then towards the bottom there's a link that you can go to enter your Amazon order number or your Audible order number and download all the bonuses. There's a 25-minute video, which is an interview with me, exclusively just for book buyers, and about 12 different PDF documents, which I think will help you in your recovery. All that just bonus for buying the book. And if you haven't yet, go to Amazon. I think we've got up to something like 19 reviews already, which is wonderful. So if you've bought the book and read it, go back to Amazon, write a review for us. That'll help convince other people to get it. And I really love all the support I've gotten for the book, for my work, for my videos. I learned so much from all of you, and you're awesome. So, going to wrap it up here. Love you folks, and as always, we'll see you tomorrow. Take care.